कलाभ्यां चूडालङ्कृतशशिकलाभ्यां निजतपः फलाभ्यां भक्तेषु प्रकटितफलाभ्यां भवतु मे शिवाभ्याम् अस्तोकत्रिभुवनशिवाभ्यां हृदि पुनर्भवाभ्याम् आनन्दस्फुरदनुभवाभ्यां नतिरियम् त्रैवेद्यं हृद्यं त्रिपुरहरम् आद्यं त्रिनयनं जटाभारोदारं चलदुरगहारं मृगधरं महादेवं देवं मयि सदय भावं पशुपतिं चिदालम्बं साम्बं शिवमतिविडम्बं हृदि भजे त्वत्पादाम्बुजमर्चयामि परमं त्वां चिन्तयाम्यन्वहं त्वामीशं शरणं व्रजामि वचसा त्वामेव याचे विभो वीक्षां मे दिशचक्षुषीं सकरुणां दिव्यैः चिरं प्रार्थितां शम्भो लोकगुरो मदीयमनसः सौख्योपदेशं कुरु. Today we will realize the Buddhist teaching. You know what? That everything that begins has a stay and end. So the beginning and sustenance and end. Bhagavan also said, Tvai arunachala sarvam bhutva sthitva pralinam. But in which everything arises, in which everything stays, unto which everything goes back, that remains changeless. So this satsanga, which also has a beginning and end, becomes successful if one is able to recognize the substratum in which it begins, and in which it stays, and in which it ends. Recognizing that substratum, that base, Atma, our own Swarupa. After that you can cry when this ends. You have to cry. You have to express your heart. And you have a ending of a satsanga. I cannot tell him, we should continue, you should not go. Neither can I tell him, okay, end it and go. That is also not possible. So we can only say, let this again and again, this kind of contact, satsanga happen. This is purely spirituality. Again and again I want to remind that. Vedanta, when we say Vedanta, it is Atma Vidya. Bhagavan's teaching is Atma Vidya, knowledge of Atma, self, our own real nature. It is not Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishta, Dvaita, it's all secondary. It is all there. Whether the world is real or unreal, Bhagavan in Ulladinarpada said, Undru Indru, Satyam Mrishava, Chididam Jadamva, Dukkham Sukham Vedi Mudhavivadaha, Adrishtaloka Niraham Pratitir Nishtha, Avikalpa Parama Akhila Ishta. Whether this is true, whether it is false, whether it is consciousness, whether it is matter, whether it is misery, whether it is happiness. Why do you unnecessarily waste your time in debate? You go and seek your real nature, who is having these doubts, this I. And when you go to the source of this I, you find that it merges in the heart where there is there is no creation at all there. And every day in deep sleep we have a taste of that state, and everyone enjoys that. So too, when you consciously understand this, what Buddha calls as anatta, anatta, anattava, anattava, anatta, anatma, anatmavada. Anatmavada is not no atmavada. It is no ego vada. The jiva bhava is unreal. That way only we can understand it. The jiva bhava is unreal, and the substratum is what the self is Brahman, is Atma, Shuddha Chaitanya. To have that knowledge, the preparation is very important. And preparation only we call sadhana. Eshu satsu eva sannishta yad abhave na siddhyati. Shankaracharya said, without these prerequisites, there will not be perfect abidance. Even though you might get some experience. When you come to Tiruvannamalai, suddenly somebody becomes enlightened. Going to Chennai, that enlightenment goes. What kind of enlightenment is that? So, why? See, you get a glimpse, that glimpse is true. It is real. It is like millions of rupees is made of 1 rupee. Like that, this glimpse is 1 rupee. Plus, 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 you go on adding. So, why are you not able to stay there? Because the upadhi, body, mind, with which we are able to live in this world, becomes an obstacle. It is not trained well. So the whole spiritual practice is for that. All these debates, about Buddhism, and Buddhism also, so many sects are there in Buddhism. Major 2 sects are Mahayana and Theravada Buddhism. And Vajrayana, and everything has more and more and more parts. And Advaita also, if we say Advaita, there are so many schools in Advaita. The Vivarana school is there, the Bhamati school is there. So many schools. I am always afraid of schools. So, these are all made by people, when your mind is merged in joy. Who will care about writing all this nonsense? People have written all these things because their mind is dry. They have so much time and they are carrying a desert inside, so why not supply that desert to others also? This is how all these vadas have come. Truly spiritual people, we call Pandita. Pandita is generally translated as scholar. Buddha uses the word Pandita many places. Panditaha tattvadarshinaha. In Gita, Bhagavan says Pandita is tattvadarshi. Na anushocanti panditaha. Pandita is a one who has transcended misery, sorrow. Panda atma vishayamatihi. Esham tehi panditaha. Shankaracharya says, one who has self-knowledge, he is Pandita. Atma jnani is Pandita. So, true Pandityam cannot be this book learning. Book learning is needed. We are not denying it. See, Veda, people do research in Vedas. Many people have written. What they research is in Westerners, and many from India, many have written. But traditionally we won't accept them. No. No way. Because unless you have learnt the Vedas in the right way in which you have to learn the Vedas, whatever research you may do is not acceptable. Because it has to come in the same way. Somebody suddenly comes and studies a medical book and says, I will give you a prescription. Direct ticket to Yamaloka. So, the most important thing is this sadhana and anubhuti. Without that, what are we seeking? We are seeking release from sorrow. In Vedanta we will say Ananda. Anando Brahme Divyajanat. Buddha said, I know where everything arises, I know where everything stays, I know where everything ends. The Shruti said, from Ananda everything arises, in Ananda everything stays, in Ananda everything goes back. And Ananda is Atma. Ananda is Brahman. That recognition, there all quest comes to an end. Esha Bhargavi Varuni Vidya. Parame Vyoman Pratishtita. He is established in that supreme space, in infinity. Because he knows Ananda is his Atma. Ananda is his Swarupa. That bliss, that Shanti is his Swarupa. Only when this recognition comes, something valuable is there. Otherwise, one teacher, I spoke about it while Shankara life was spoken at that time. One great scholar to whom another scholar came to that Swami. He said, you have some great scholars with you? Yes, he here, there he goes. It was a rat. See, he has eaten 3 commentaries on Brahma Sutra and 1 Advaita Siddhi and Mandukya Karika, Brihadaranya, all he has eaten. Swallowed. So that way, no use. Now all our Panditya, scholarship, remembering things, all our AI will do better. Anything it will tell. Then you have to consider the AI as the greatest Jivan Mukta. So, Alpavidapi, Shankaracharya says, he knows very little. Chittavan bhavati, he has controlled the mind. Yadi alpavidapi, chittavan bhavati, taduktartha grahanaiva shrotumichanti nipunaha. Those who are seeking the truth, those who are genuinely searching, they will prefer a person who has absorbed a little bit and his mind has attained peace. That Ananda. Then Shrotumichanti nipunaha. They wish to listen there. No? So that is spirituality. That is why to Ramakrishna everyone went, because he was not a scholar. Bhagavan, everybody came. Somebody wanted to argue with Bhagavan. Bhagavan said, should I give you in writing that I do not know all these things? I will put signature and give it to you. So, this is not for despising scholarship. Scholarship There were mighty scholars in our Shringeri Parampara or Kanchi Parampara or many. But that scholarship was accompanied with renunciation, with tapasya, with yoga, with bhakti, with everything that is noble in spirituality. So when all that are there, life becomes complete, purna. So this is what we are seeking. And when a person, such a great being arrives, then mokshadvaram apavritam. Yesterday we said, the door to moksha, liberation is open. Kanchi Shankaracharya said, the door is open, but the entry space is very small. If you are very fat, you cannot enter. So through all sadhanas, the ego's fatness should be reduced so that it can enter the heart hole, which Bhagavan speaks. Through that heart hole, the ego has to enter. Gundu ego ulla kadakka mudiyadhu. So the ego should be made very, very, very thin. Tanumanasi, we call it Tanumanasi. The mind is very, very thin. The mind is very, very focused by upasana, by bhakti. Then the mind enters that source. So that is, for that all these preparations are needed. And now we had a very grand session for so many days. Today, temporarily, we are stopping these sessions on Buddhism. I have read some of the Buddhist works, but this is a good opportunity where we have Bante here speaking and quoting from Pali texts. And they, in Theravada, they stop there, not going to other commentaries or anything, directly from the Vinaya and Sutras, Tripitika. So there, we have all these records, we have a fragrance of Buddhism, but along with that, he is at home with Advaita tradition, Sringeri, Kanchi. He has met all the great mighty sages there. So he carries in his heart all that bhakti. So today we will continue Arunachalasva.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang gunuttarang upajayang namasami. Aparutate sangamata sadvaraye sotavanta pamuchantu saddang. Puthasat lokadammehi chittam yasanakampati asokang virajang khemang etang mangalamuttamanti. Ishvaro gururatmeti murti bedha vibhagine vyomavad vyapta dehaya dakshinamurtaye namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnur Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram Hyahamaham Sakshad Atmarupena Bhati. Hridi Vishamanasasvam Chinvata Majhatava Pavana Chalanarodhat Atmanishto Bhavatvam. So with permission from the Acharya, delightful to be back here. Like Acharya says, I also can't say I won't go. One part of me is very sad to go because Acharya has been a great philosopher, guide, teacher. During his Purvashrama, during my Purvashrama, I would always listen. And his Pandityam and his Anubhuti really entered my heart. And I was really thirsting to meet Acharya. Then last year when I met KVS Mama at Ramanacharanatirtha, and I was telling KVS Mama how wonderful it is that Acharya is in Tiruvannamalai and he's doing all this, and he has provided the opportunity for a spiritual community to form around him, which is a great act of daya, a great act of kripa, great act of karuna, and a great opportunity for all of us to be with a Satpurusha. So when KVS Mama said, he's right here, he's here now, and he called and made arrangements, and the very next day I came and paid my respects to Acharya. So even though we've known each other only for 1 year in this lifetime, it feels as if I've known him forever. That is the warmth with which I have been welcomed, not just by him, but by everyone here. It feels like I've lived in this family for a long time. So as Shakespeare says, parting is sweet sorrow. Anyway, now to the topic. So yesterday we were talking about the great disciples of the Buddha, and we were talking about how Sariputra advises his mother Rupasari about the qualities of the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. And this is called the Triratna Guna, qualities, characteristics of the three jewels, or Tissarana Guna, the qualities of the three refuges that we go for. It's also called the Dajjagga Paritta, which is it's a protective chant that is very emblematic. So it's kept at a very high position. And usually in all Theravada monasteries, this is one chant that you can hear all the time, either in the background, or the monks will always be chanting this because it is in praise of the three most precious things in Buddhism, which is Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And the Buddha, of course, like we discussed earlier, is not just the historical Siddhartha Gautama, but the opportunity of awakening, the opportunity of enlightenment, what we call bodhicitta, that the Tibetan tradition calls bodhicitta, that spark that exists within all of us, that opportunity that exists within all of us, is a place of great refuge. Then the teachings that allow us to get close to that spark, that allow us to get close to that opportunity, that allow us a certain amount of realization. That's the other refuge. And thirdly is the refuge of all those who practice with us. So this chant goes, I'll do the Pali chant first, then I'll break it down. Iti piso bhagavarahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampanno sugato loka vidhu anuttaro purisadhamma sarati satta devamanussanang buddho bhagavati Swakatho bhagavata dhammo samdittiko akaliko ehi pasiko opanayiko pachatang veditabho vinyuhiti supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Nyaya patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho samichi patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho yadidan chattari purisa yuga niyarta purisa puggala esa bhagavato savaka sangho ahuneyo pahuneyo dakkinaiyo anjali karaniyo anuttarang punyakhetang lokasati. So this is the chant. In the first part describes the Buddha, second his teachings, and third the Sangha. So the chant starts like this: Iti piso, ityapi saha. It thus it is Bhagava. Then in our Pali commentaries, Bhagava is explained as Bhaggaragoti Bhagavaha, Bhaggadosoti Bhagavaha, Bhaggamohoti Bhagavaha. So who is a Bhagava? Bhagava is someone who drives away Raga, Dvesha and Moha. Right? That is his job. Just like how Guru Gushabdastu Andakarasya Rushabdasta Nirodaka Guru Ritya Vidiyate. Just like how Gu is darkness and Ru is to chase away. Therefore, by chasing away the darkness, he is known as the Guru. Right? Ragadvesha vihinastu bhagavan iti katyate. So the vihina of raga and dvesha. So it's all the same, whichever tradition, because the truth can't be separate. Right? So Bhagava, Arahang.
Bhagayeva bhagavagum astu vayam deva te bhagavantasyama.
Bhagya Sukta. So it's the same idea of driving away. Driving away all these things that are not helpful. Driving away all these things that become hindrances. Right? Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Raga is interest in sensuality, attraction to anything sensual. Dvesha is the othering that we constantly do. Right? Me and you, me and you. So if there's a me and you, then there's automatically mine and yours. Leads to conflict, leads to disturbance, leads to stress. Moha is this delusion, avidya. Somehow we look at something and it appears in a certain way, but it's not in that certain way. So raga, dvesha, moha. Arahang. Ari, hang. Ari is enemy, hang is to kill. So this person has killed all his enemies. Not externally, but internally. And these enemies are raga, dvesha, moha. Arahang. Samyak sambuddha. So his enlightenment, his awakening has been complete, purna. There is nothing that is lacking. Right? His enlightenment is so complete that nothing needs to be taken away, nothing needs to be added. It's that state of perfect being, what we call Chaitanya, Samyak Sambuddha. Vidyacharana Sampannaha. So a Sampanna is someone who's, so Janati is to know, Pajanati is to know well, Sampajanati is to know very deep internally. So Vidya Acharana Sampannaha. So someone who knows very deeply. And what does he know? It's part of him. It's in every cell. He's soaked in that. And what does he know? He knows only two things. Vidya, which is knowledge, the end of avidya, and acharana, conduct. And these feed each other. Through good conduct, we can be able to get glimpses of Vidya. And the Vidya itself tells us how to conduct ourselves. So the Buddha is known as Vidya Acharana Sampannaha. Vidyacharana Sampanno. And in the Tripitaka it is mentioned Yathavadi Tathakari. Yathakari Tathavadi. What he says, he will do. And he will speak about only things he has done. That's it. Yathavadi Tathakari, Yathakari Tathavadi. Vidyacharana Sampanno. Sugato, Gati, that Gati that he has reached is a Sugati. It is the best abiding. Lokavidu, knower of all the worlds. So he knows not just himself and the heart, but his vision transcends time and space. His vision and his understanding transcends galaxies and cosmoses and everything. Another way of saying he's very astute. He knows exactly the right response to be given at the right time and at the right place. Knower of the worlds, Loka Vidu. Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati. Purisa Dhamma is the Dharma of life that we are all engaged in. And while we are engaging in this Dharma, we can either engage in it in a very deluded manner, or we can seek guidance, we can seek Kalyana Mitrata, and then we can approach this Purisa Dhamma from a place of wisdom. Right? And the Buddha is known as Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati. He is the charioteer who guides this chariot of Purisa Dhamma. And he is Anuttaraha. There is no one else like him. Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati. Satta, Sanskrit Shasta, teacher. Shasta Deva Manushyanan. So both for Devatas and for Manushyas he is a teacher. Buddho, fully awakened. Bhagavati, that's how we know the Holy One. So this is a description of the Buddha. Then Sariputta speaks about the Buddha's teachings to his mother, and he says, Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo. So this person who's like this, who's in this state, who's perfect in conduct, perfect in understanding, and who is full of compassion for the world, he knows the entire world. Such a person has taught something. And so what are the characteristics of what he has taught? Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo. This Dharma, this teaching, he has taught in a very simple, accessible, tangible way. Sanditiko, Sandrishti. So it is very visible. All you have to do is look at the teaching, and the teaching manifests in your life. Akaliko, it is timeless. What was pertinent at the time of the Buddha is still pertinent now. Because wherever there is human beings, there is suffering. Yes. There is dukkha. And all the Buddha teaches is the ending of dukkha. So it's always pertinent. Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehi Passiko. You have to go and see for yourself. You have to bring it into your heart. You have to bring it into your reality. You have to bring it into your existence. Right? Like we said the other day, it should not remain like a dogma. It should not remain like an artifact. It should not remain like a statue in the showcase. You have to grapple with it, deal with it. Sometimes hold on to it with tightness. Sometimes just allow it to manifest. Sometimes fight. Right? All these things. So you have to really invite it. You have to really allow it to come into your life. Oppanayiko. Then once you do that, it will start flowering on its own. It will start manifesting on its own. And not only that, pachatang, pratyakshang veditabho vinyuhi. This becomes, you cannot deny it then, because it is pratyaksha. It is there in front of you, it is there inside you, it is there around you. Everything that you do, dealing with the world or when you sit dealing internally, everything is dharma. Right? So you cannot find a place where there is no dharma. Angum illada anbu edana நேத்துக்கு சொன்னேல
அன்பே மௌனம் அன்பே மோட்சம் அன்பே அனைத்தும் என்றாய் அன்பில்லாத இடம் அங்கும் இங்கும் இல்லை என்றாய் எங்கும் நிறைந்து
அன்பில்லாத இடம் அங்கும் இங்கும் இல்லை என்றாய். There's no place which is devoid of love. Right? And the Buddha says the same thing. There's no place that's devoid of dharma. Angum ingum illai என்றாய். Ehi pasiko opanayiko pachatang veditabho vinyuhiti. And when you start bringing this dharma into your life, you start bringing these teachings into your life, when instead of reacting, you start responding. Instead of running away with sorrow, you start analyzing it as an object. Instead of habitual reactions, so someone says something, you yell back. Someone yells at you, you yell back. Right? And like Mahatma Gandhi said, if eye for an eye is the truth, then the whole world would be blind by now. Right? That's what we do. Somebody shouts at us, we want to shout back. Instead, look at the Four Noble Truths. Somebody has insulted us, somebody has shouted at us. See where it manifests in the body. Whether the stomach is tightening or the chest is tightening or the throat is tightening or you feel your head is going to burst. Just watch that. Be with that sensation for a while. The person who yells at you will forget and go away. You don't need to respond. And you watch the cessation of this. You watch the cessation. Turned inwards. No need to. And then later on, of course, some damage control can be done. You can go and talk to that person and say, look, this is not on, this is very unpleasant. But in the moment, you don't escalate. In the moment, you manage this first. Once this is calm, this is peaceful, then you can go and talk to that person with something of value. Then that person will also understand. But usually arguments never go that way. Two hands clapping, there's only noise. So this is how the Dharma is explained. Then Sariputta now describes the Sangha, this collection of noble beings who practice together, walk this path together. Supatipanna, patipatti. So in the Pali teachings, knowledge can be in two forms. Pariyatti, which is learning. So you can listen to an acharya, Suttamaya Panya. Then you can investigate it inside, like Shravana Manana Nidhyasana. Same way, it's called Suttamaya Panya. That is an intelligence that arrives after listening or reading. Chintamaya Panya. You investigate that. You analyze that. You think about it. Then a certain amount of panya, a prajna will arise. Chintamaya panya. Finally, the most valuable thing, bhavanamaya panya. So after that insight has arisen, you apply it in your daily life. You apply it when you're sitting and meditating. You apply it when you're dealing with your co-workers or your family or a shopkeeper, or whatever, in any situation. Bhavanamaya panya. That is the most valuable thing. Suttamaya Panya, an example is someone tells you, oh, there is a restaurant down the road, food is very tasty there. So you know, food is very tasty there. Yes. There is that knowledge. Then you go into that restaurant and they give you a menu card. So you take the menu card and you read it. Oh yeah, he's right. This is a very good restaurant. All these dishes seem to be very good. But till then, this knowledge is not yet yours. It's only in the mind. So then you order something and the waiter brings the food and puts it on your table. You pick it up and you put it in your mouth and you say, yes, this is very tasty. Why? Bhavana, experience. Bhavanamaya panya. Now the truth is yours. Till the time the food entered your mouth, the truth was somebody else's truth. Somebody else has gone to the restaurant, somebody else has eaten there, and that somebody else has recommended. Till the time you go and sit and you eat, that truth is not yours. So, this is what we call pariyatti and patipatti. So, pariyatti is knowledge that we get from an external source. Patipatti, patipada, we take that knowledge and we walk with it. We walk the path of that knowledge. So, su patipanno. These people who have walked this path so well, su patipanno, bhagavato, of the great Lord, this path of the great Lord that people have walked so well. Savaka sango, shravaka, they are striving, they have determination, they have commitment, and they are the Sangha. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sango. Ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sango. This Sangha of strivers, they have what is called uju, straightforwardness. They have steadiness. It can be compared to sthita prajnata in the Bhagavad Gita. Ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sango. Nyaya patipanno bhagavato savaka sango. There are niyamas, there are certain ways of doing it. I don't want to use the word rule, because rule becomes, it kind of takes away, but for all practical purposes, there are certain methods, there are certain ways of doing this practice. Nyaya patipanno bhagavato savaka sango. Samichi patipanno bhagavato savaka sango. The Sangha knows how to practice in a manner that is appropriate. Appropriate to time and place, and appropriate to one's own abilities. Right? So, in the middle, you can't say, if there is some, you can't go to Ramanacharanatirtha and when the Veda Parayana is going on, you can't say, I'll go sit there and meditate, everybody should be silent. It's not appropriate. When you go for Veda Parayana, you go and enjoy the Veda Parayana, you listen to the Veda Parayana. The Veda itself should come and inform you. At that time, it's not your job to sit and meditate or do anything else. So, Samichi. So, time and place, whatever is appropriate. And again, what is appropriate to ourselves. So again, going back to this example, when Buddha was sitting by the Niranjana river, he hears somebody playing the veena and he recognizes that if the string is too tight, it will break. If the string is too loose, it won't make the swara. It will be abaswara. The sound will not be proper. So for the veena to give the right note, all the strings must have the appropriate tautness, not too tight, not too loose. Similarly, that's how we have to do our sadhana. We have to design our sadhana in such a way. It's not, I sit cross-legged 18 hours, 19 hours, next day I wake up, my knees are swollen, then I need a knee replacement. That is not good practice. That is stupid practice. That is obstinate practice. That is the practice of banging your head against a brick wall. No, you should know, beyond 2 hours, this is not possible. Then get up, do some walking meditation, or get up, sit on a chair and meditate. Appropriateness. The other side is looseness. Oh, meditation. Yeah. This movie is more interesting. I'll watch the movie first, then I'll do meditation. So then the movie finishes. Oh, I'm hungry. I need to eat something. After you eat something, movie was excellent. Food was also excellent. Now it's time to go to sleep. Meditation is forgotten. Meditation is lost. So prioritize. All the time prioritize. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sango. Yadidam chattari purisa yugani. These are the 4 types of human beings, which are monks, nuns, laymen, laywomen, who form this Sangha. And of these 4 pairs, there are 8 types. Right? So yesterday we were talking about Shrotapanna, Sakatagami, Anagami, Arahant. So just like that, there are people who are striving and who are walking on the path, and there are people who have already achieved the phala, the fruit of the path. So before we come to that, it's important to recognize that the result of spiritual practice is a phala, it is a fruit. That's why after each stotram there's the phala shruti. If you read this stotram or if you listen to the stotram, this is the phala you will get. What is a phala? Phala is something that matures, right? And how does it mature? It matures on its own accord. All we can do is take care of causes and conditions. So if we take care of causes and conditions, what is the most important cause? Most important cause is desire, so we handle desire. Most favorable condition is silence of the heart. We are silent, we are collected, we reach the silence of the heart. Then the phala is nirvana, moksha. How else can it be? Can't be any other way. So all our job is to set the causes and conditions. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So we set the causes and conditions, try our best, and leave the rest to Bhagavan. Leave the rest to Dharma, as my fellow Buddhists would say. My teacher would always say, trust in God, but tie your camel. So you have to trust God, but at the same time make sure your camel is tied. Right? Trust in Allah, but tie your camel. That's what he would say. Trust in Allah, but tie your camel. So we have to do both, right? So this kind of always keeping an eye out, what is appropriate, what is comfortable, what is actually going to get me the phala, not hurrying. Because you can never hurry. If there is a tree and there are fruits, just because you are anxious, the fruit is not going to ripen. The fruit will ripen only when the conditions are appropriate for it to ripen. Then it will fall with all sweetness, with all juiciness, with all plump, taste, with the most highest taste. But till then we have to learn to be patient. And all we can do till then is create the causes and conditions. So we can protect the tree, make sure no parasites come onto the tree. We can protect it from the crows, protect it from neighbors who want to pluck it. All that we can do. But we still have to wait. So there are these 8 kinds of beings who are on the path of Sotapati, who have received the fruit of Sotapati, who are on the path of Sagrata Gamana, who have received the fruits of Sagrata Gamana, who are on the path of Anagamana and who have received the fruits of Anagamana, on the path of Arahantship and who have received the fruits of Arahantship. Atta Purisa Puggala. Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho. So all of these 4 pairs and these 8 kinds of beings are the Sangha of the Noble One. Ahunayyo. They are worthy of being invited, right? Usually there's no question. If you see someone who's very spiritually adept, if you see someone who's very spiritually capable or competent, you automatically want to invite them. So the first thing you will do is, Namaskaram, Vango, Vango. Invite them. Worthy of being invited. Ahunayyo. Pahunayyo. They are worthy of being taken care of. Then you make sure they sit down, they're taken care of properly, they're comfortable, their chair is comfortable, they have a footstool and all that. Dakhinayyo. They are worthy of offering dakshina. So you go and make offerings, dakshina of fruits, dakshina of whatever dakshina you want to offer. Anjali Karaniyo, they are worthy of Anjali Karana, bowing down and paying respects. And why? Why are they worthy of all this? Because the Buddha says, these people who have renounced everything, they act as punya kshetras. There is a kshetra in which, or a field in which, what is the only thing that grows? The only thing that grows is punya. So that is why bhikshus and bhikshunis, we receive dana. That is why sannyasins receive bhiksha. All of our life is dedicated to receiving things from people. Because we are a punya kshetra. Whenever people come and offer something to us, they are sowing seeds of punya. This is what the Buddha said. Punya khetam lokassa. It is the highest field of merit in this world. Because we have nothing for ourselves. We live on the generosity of others. So we are the conduit through which people achieve their punya. So this is how the Buddha describes the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. This is how Sariputta describes the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. And listening to this, Rupasari attains complete understanding and she lets go of her life and passes away. So we spoke about Sariputra, Mahamogallana, Ananda. The Buddha also had women disciples, female disciples who were the bhikshunis, and their spiritual attainment, their spiritual achievement was no less than the men. So one of the most celebrated nuns during the time of the Buddha was a nun called Khema. In Pali, Khema, and Sanskrit, Kshema. This Kshema was one of the wives of King Presided. In those days, kings would have many wives. So she was one of the wives of King Presided. And her name was Rupavati. Her name wasn't Rupa. Her name was Kshema, even while growing up, or even before she became a nun. Her name was Kshema. But she was completely enamored by her looks. She knew she was a very beautiful woman, and she knew using that beauty she could get whatever she wanted to achieve. So she was, if you read some of the descriptions, it is very close to how they describe narcissism in modern psychology. She was quite a narcissist, completely in love with her own beauty. So King Prasenadi is a very, very ardent, devoted follower of the Lord Buddha. So he'd keep telling her, we must go pay respects to the Lord Buddha. And she would tell him, no, if I come there, what is he going to say? He'll say, I am a bag of flesh. He'll say, my beauty is temporary. He'll say, I shouldn't be enamored by my beauty. I don't want to listen to all that. I'm not going to come. So she'll keep refusing like that because there's fear. There's fear that if someone bursts that bubble, the most precious thing that she has is going to be lost. So she keeps refusing. But King Prasenadi himself had, he was a very mature student. So he calls all of his ministers and all the queen's maids, and he says, there is this Veluvana monastery. Veluvana is bamboo grove. Venuvana. Venu is bamboo. In Pali it's called Velu. So Veluvana monastery, that's where the Buddha is staying. You all take the queen on a picnic, but don't tell her you're going to Veluvana. Right? But Veluvana is so beautiful, it's so scenic. So tell her you're going to take her to see a very beautiful spot and you're going to have a picnic. Have your picnic. When everything is done, finally go and pay respects to the Buddha. Just take the queen as if you're going on a walk. You pay respects to the Buddha. So the Buddha is there, they go, they have their picnic. Khema is very, very enamored with the place. She loves the scenic beauty. She loves the whole atmosphere, so she's having a good time. They have the breakfast and all that, have the picnic and all that, and they go. So then all her maids tell her, there's just one more spot, we must just go there. And so she comes along, she enters the kuti, and she sees the Buddha sitting there. She's totally shocked, because now her ego is acting. I did not want to meet this person, but somehow all these people have tricked me. Here he is, but yet he is so effulgent, he is so bright, he is so radiant, he is so compassionate. I can't not see him. I don't want to see him, but I can't stop seeing him. So without her knowledge, she prostrates to the Buddha. Buddha says, come, sit. And then he materializes an apsara to sit opposite Khema. Khema looks at that apsara and she thinks, I thought I was good looking, but my looks are not even 1,000th of that apsara's. She's so good looking. And as she's thinking, the Buddha, it's all an apparition, right? This apsara turns into a middle-aged woman, then into an old woman, then into a sickly woman, finally falls down and dies. And Khema, it hits Khema. This, because she's seeing it visually, that this thing of great beauty, this person of great beauty, within a few seconds is now lying crumpled on the ground as a really old, withered, person. So she realizes this fate is going to come to me also. So then and there, she falls down at the Buddha's feet and says, please allow me to join and practice along with you. I'd like to become a nun. Buddha says, Yehi Bhikshuni. And she practices and she reaches, she's Sariputta's equivalent in the Bhikshuni Sangha. So Buddha says, Etadaggang Bhikkhuninam Mahapanyanam. She has Mahapanya, the greatest prajna of all the Bhikkhunis. So that's the story of Khema. She lives a long life. She teaches many nuns. She mentors many nuns, guides a lot of people to complete understanding. So that is Khema. Then another nun who was Mahamogallana's contemporary, or actually Mahakasapa's contemporary, and she is called Etadaggang Bhikkhuninang Vinayadarana. So she holds the Vinayadhara. Vinaya is the code of discipline for monks and nuns. So she is extremely well versed in that. So her acharana is perfect. Her conduct is perfect. Right? And so she is Mahakasapa's or Mahakashyapa's counterpart in the Bhikkhuni Sangha. So her name is Patacara. This Patacara was born into a rich family in Savatthi, and this family has a 7th-floor mansion, and they lock her up on the 7th floor and they post guards so that no man can see her. She's not allowed to go out, she's not allowed to socialize. Just like how the parents wanted to protect the Buddha from all the ugliness, these parents wanted to protect her from, they wanted to protect her beauty from prying eyes. Anyway, she was kept locked up. As luck would happen, she falls in love with a manservant in that household. And she asks her parents, look, I've fallen in love with this servant. He's a very good character. He's a very good skill. I would like to marry him. Parents being parents, no way. No, you can't marry him. So somehow they elope. They run away. They are living far away from Shravasti in a little town. And they are living there as husband and wife. The husband goes out, earns money. She's trying to run the house. She's never done any work before, but somehow she learns how to cook and she's running the household. And she gets pregnant. And she wants to, now the time is approaching for delivery, she wants to go to her father's house to have the baby there. The husband says, no, let's not do that, because if we go to the father's house, then your father will catch hold of me and may put me in jail for kidnapping you, or he may even execute me. So I don't want that to happen. Your father is a very powerful man. You have the delivery here itself. So she doesn't listen. When the husband is away at work, she starts walking towards Savatthi. So her husband comes back from work and asks the neighbor, where's my wife? And the neighbor said, no, your wife's gone off to Savatthi to have the baby in her father's house. So he gets very scared. So follows her, runs after her, and convinces her not to go. But anyway, on the way she has the baby. So husband, wife, baby come back to their home. So after a year, the same thing happens. She's pregnant, wants to go back to her father's house. Husband refuses. So this time she says, even if you refuse, I'm going. So right in front of him, she starts walking, carrying one baby in her hand, another baby is in her stomach. She starts walking. This husband is running behind her, pleading, please don't go, don't go. She says, no, I have to go. So as they are walking, there is a flash flood. And it's pouring rain. So she tells her husband, I have to rest somewhere. So husband says, okay, you wait here. I'll build a little thatched hut for you. So he goes and collects some sticks and some leaves, and he's about to make that hut when he's bitten by a snake. Very poisonous, venomous snake, falls down there and dies. So first shock for Rupavati. She's shocked seeing her husband like this. So she says, okay, now what else can I do? He's dead, I have to go to my parents' house. So she carries the first child in her arm, fully pregnant, she's walking. And the river, Achiravati, you have to cross the Achiravati to go to Savatthi. So she's standing there at the bank, and now this river is running in spate. So she can't cross. So she sees the river, and in that she's wondering what to do. She gives birth to the second baby also. So now she has two, like one infant and one newborn baby. She has to cross this river. So she tells the elder child, you wait here, I'll take your younger brother to the other side of the lake, leave him there, and I'll come back for you, but don't go anywhere, it's all dangerous. It's raining, there's floods. So the boy is standing there. She goes across, leaves the baby on the other side, turning around, walking back. There is an eagle that swoops down, grabs hold of the baby and takes it away. Second shock for Rupavati. So husband is dead. Soon enough, her newborn baby is dead. It's very, very hard for her to handle this. So then she says, okay, let me at least go and get my firstborn. So as she's walking to the shore, she sees this, she's crying out. The child thinks that the mother is crying for him to come. So the child gets into the river, the current sweeps him away. So now husband is dead, 2 children are dead, she's half mad. So much dukkha, so much sorrow. Somehow she crosses the Achiravati and is on her way to Savatthi. She's almost reached Savatthi, maybe a few kilometers to the border. She sees a traveler. And she calls the traveler and she says, look, I'm the daughter of such and such person who lives in Savatthi. I just want to know if my family is okay. So the traveler says, look, I'm very sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but yesterday in that storm, your house has collapsed and it has crushed your mother, father and your brother. So within a matter of 12 hours, she has lost her husband, 2 children, mother, father and brother. She was almost half mad because of her sorrow. Now she just loses it completely. That sorrow is so much for her to bear. So she starts ripping off all her clothes and she's running like a mad woman. just screaming and yelling and running. And goes and sees, and people, some people are kind to her, some people kind of throw stones at her and tell her to disperse. But some person tells her, no, there is this very great sage, this very great saint called the Buddha, who is so there's this great sage, this great saint called the Buddha. Go and take his blessings. He may have some solution for you. So she's running. As she's running, she enters the Vihara, Veluvana, where the Buddha is staying. And everyone there is shocked, this naked woman is running. So some people try and stop her. Buddha says, no, let her come. So as she's running, somebody takes their Angavastra and throws it, and it falls on her, and she keeps walking. So she's called Patacara. Patta is like an upper cloth, Chara is walks. So one who walks with the upper cloth. So that's what becomes her name. And she tells the Buddha that, this is what has happened. I have lost my husband, I have lost my 2 children, I have lost my parents. And the Buddha says, yes, I can understand that you're feeling really, really sad. But what can you do if you if you collect all the tears that you have shed in all your past lives for all the loved ones that have left you and gone, there'll be more water than the 7 seas put together. So she's able to visualize that, and she gets some objectivity. And the Buddha doesn't stop there. He says, just imagine, just your tears are so much. What about the tears of all the other sentient beings? Then the truth, she's able to apprehend the first noble truth. Idam dukkham, this is suffering. This is not just my suffering. It's universal suffering. And she gets a little bit of peace, a little bit of composure. She asks the Buddha's permission to join the order as a bhikshuni. The Buddha gives her permission. She joins the bhikkhuni, Sangha of bhikkhunis, and becomes a very great realized being and a very celebrated elder, the counterpart of Mahakashyapa in the Buddha's Sangha. Then finally, one last story is similar. Another lady called Kisa Gotami. So she was born in the Gautama Gotra, so her name was Gautami, but she was called Kisa. Kisa in Pali means something that is very thin, someone who's very thin. Krisha, someone kind of dark complexioned, scrawny. So anyway, she right from childhood, she has this complex that, I don't look good. So totally opposite to Khema. Khema had great pride in her beauty and her good looks. For Kisa Gotami, it was the reverse. She had the complex that, nobody likes her, she'll never get married, she'll never have a family, all that. Anyway, finally some person sees her, he's able to see her inner qualities of goodness, and in spite of her looks, marries her and takes her to his home. Initially she, goes through a lot of torture. Anyway, there's this Hindi series that one of my neighbors used to see. Huh? Yes. Kyunki saas bhi bahu thi. Like that, this problem between Sasural and Bahu starts. The mother-in-law is very unhappy. Oh, you come from a very poor family, you don't even look good, and I don't know why my son has chosen you, and the same story on and on and on. This becomes a source of great misery and misfortune for her. But at some point, she gets pregnant and delivers a son. Now, this has given her some status because she has produced Vamshavritti. So, grandparents are very happy, husband is very happy, they treat her nicely and all that. So like this, life goes on for a few years. When the child is around 5 or 6 years old, the child dies. Child passes away. And her whole life is shattered because she's scared now that her in-laws may chase her away. She's scared that her husband may throw her out of the house and marry another. So all of these fears, so there's dukkha. To that dukkha, she is adding all these second arrows by her own imagination. And she takes this child and she can't come to terms that this child is dead. So she starts running around the streets of Savatthi. Oh, please find some medicine for my child. Please find a way of reviving my boy. Keeps running. Then people try and tell her, look, this child is dead. You can't do anything. But absolutely no cognition of that, no recognition of that. She keeps running. And finally somebody says, go to the Buddha. Then she says, will the Buddha do a miracle? They said, yeah, the Buddha does only miracles. Go to the Buddha. So she thought the Buddha will do some miracle and, maybe sprinkle some tirtham and her boy would awaken. So she takes the boy and goes to the Buddha weeping, crying, I want my son back, I want my son back. Buddha is full of compassion, full of love and compassion, looks at her. But he knows he cannot teach her. This moment is not appropriate for teaching. There should be a somatic way, there should be a felt way by which she has to get rid of this dukkha. So he says, yes, I'll help you. And she said, what can I do? How will you help me? Buddha said, nothing doing, just go, get me a handful of mustard seeds. Oh yes, for sure. She gets up. Buddha says, there's one condition. These mustard seeds should come from a home or a family which has never faced death. You bring that to me, then I will revive your son. So she goes. She's very happy now. Now there is a medicine. The Buddha will cure my son. She goes to each house asking, please give me, my son is dead. I need some mustard seeds. Of course we'll give you mustard seeds. Then she says, yes, but has there been any death in your family? Yes, last week my uncle died. So yes, we are very sad. So she says, no, I thank you. I can't take your mustard seeds. She goes from house to house to house, same story. Yes, last year my grandmother died. The year before that my husband died. Then last week somebody else died. Every house in Savatthi has seen some death or the other. And now with each step she is beginning to see the universality of this suffering. And so this my suffering becomes there is suffering. So she walks back to the Buddha and says, Bhante, this business with the mustard seeds is over. Please give me opportunity to study under you, to practice and to reach full understanding. Buddha says yes. And so she becomes an arahant, she's about to become an arahant. One evening she enters her kuti and there's a lamp and she is getting ready to go to bed. So all she has to do is extinguish the lamp. So she takes a stick and pulls the wick down into the oil. As the wick gets extinguished, all her vasanas get extinguished. It's the culmination of all her dukkha, culmination of all her teachings, and in that moment, she becomes an arahant. And so leads a very blessed life in the Bhikkhuni Sangha. So anyway, once again, many thanks to Acharya. Many thanks to everyone, all of you to be here. So hopefully very soon, hopefully next year I should be back and we'll meet each other again. In the meanwhile, thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening. If there is anything right in what I said, all that credit goes to my Guru. If there's anything wrong in what I've said, the fault is mine, so please bear with me. So now Oh. Pranam Swamiji, I humbly seek your guidance regarding a challenge in my practice. As I strive to remain attentive, certain desires arise strongly, and I notice how deeply they can consume me. Very good. Even though I observe them arising and transforming into emotions and subsequent thoughts, I am unable to truly see them as changing phenomenon that come and go. Instead, I get swept away by them. I also notice how significantly they affect my attention in day-to-day practices. I recognize these desires as obstacles and unable to figure out what to do with them. Start to feel aversion towards them, which is also counterproductive. Although I understand their cause, etc., exercising patience and perseverance, the mind and senses get carried away constantly, which leads to fear and further discouragement. I would be grateful to receive guidance on how to skillfully work on this gap between clarity and experience. Pranam and gratitude, Ishita. Well, your answer is there in the question itself. You said patience and perseverance. There is no shortcut. But whatever you're doing is right. You have to stop the mind from wandering. First of all, you have to identify it as a phenomenon. You have to objectify it. So the objectification is happening. You are recognizing them as obstacles. That is also happening. Unable to figure out what to do with them. There is nothing we can do with them. See, these are not really anything under our control. These are not anything that is under our ownership. We just say, my thoughts. Actually, thought is just thought. My teacher would say humorously, sometimes the arising of thought is like the arising of gas. You eat food, gas will arise. You consume all of these sense stimulus, thoughts will arise. So that's about it. Now, not to say, as unpleasant as gas is, thoughts are equally unpleasant. I'm not denying that. But what we can do is we have to be patient with them. Whenever you start to feel aversion, let the aversion itself become the object of your awareness. That is one way. The other way is to somehow open your heart, expand your heart. Instead of focusing in a small, minute area, you can just expand your awareness and vision so that this becomes a little speck. And then it becomes, insignificant. So you can either zoom in and work with it with a lot of patience, perseverance, and love, and affection, and lightness, right? Because it is going to come to an end. That guarantee the Buddha gives you. It is going to come to an end. How soon it's going to come to an end, there's no guarantee. That depends on each one's prarabdha. So you can either zoom in, work with the problem at this level, or expand. Brahma Vihara. Abide in complete boundaryless awareness when the problem seems very, very minuscule. Okay? So if there's any follow-up, you can ask me later, or ask Mauli, and Mauli will send me an email. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Today we are blessed that Devaki Amma also has come. Today morning I called her and told that this satsang is happening. So Amma was very busy there. Anyway, she has come for the last 2 stories. It was a very grand 7 days, living in the presence of Buddha and his disciples, and last today we saw how life, destiny can attack a person. This Patacara story, I have heard it before, and some places I narrated that, and some devotee said, Swami, please don't do it. Again, don't tell that story, because so much sorrow is there in that story. I have seen this again and again happening in this spiritual commune. People, when they come, especially when they come to serious spiritual quest, the fuel behind it is suffering, which pushes them to spiritual life. Many have some stories behind, very sad stories. I've seen it in the life of many devotees. One day somewhere in Karnataka on a river bank, some of us were doing Sandhya Vandana, some were bathing, taking bath, and one child was swimming in the river. It was not dangerous, he was swimming. And I heard a scream from a lady. She is not connected to that, related to that child, but she was screaming, oh, don't go, it is like that, my son died. In the same way my son died, don't go there. Suddenly she remembered that, and all that sorrow came to the surface. Then I understood they were very serious in their spiritual pursuit, but they are seeking this medicine for this suffering. Either you are due to your discrimination, and as Buddha said, if you collect all the tears that you have shed in your former births, it will be more than the ocean. Like that, all the former birth sorrow, the smriti, the memory of it, somewhere hidden, unconsciously, awakens the discrimination, the viveka. Then the person is really genuine in spirituality. Without that, that is one of my siddhanta. Without that backing, spiritual quest will not be genuine. They will come to become somebody here. I will say, to become famous, you don't need spirituality. Better go and act in cinema. You will have more fame. You need not come to spiritual life to become a celebrity. You come to spiritual life to become nobody. Nothing. Because you understand Tannai Izhanda Nalam. Arunagirinathar says, the greatest well-being is to be without this me, this I. Everything is gone. And I am also gone. Paul Brendan asked Bhagavan, should I not give up all my possessions? Bhagavan said, the possessor too. The possessor also should go. Ellam ara tannai ilanda nalam. Yes. So that is jnanam. You can enjoy the subtlety of the philosophy, the clarity of Vedanta. You can get fascinated by that. But to really approach it, you need the power of Vairagya. Either in this birth or the past birth, you will be having it. That is the power which pushes you from outside to seek. Then you later on understand that this is all nothing. This is all not real. It is just like seeing a tragedy film. The film is not real. In my younger days, all this Malayalam film will be tragedy. Every film, the hero will die, the heroine will die, and people go there and they go there for removing their sorrow, for happiness. And they come back crying, and the mystery is next day also they go. Some people, they enjoy it. That Karuna Rasa, Shoka Rasam. They say Shoka Rasam. So that also Rasam. Because you know it is unreal, you enjoy even Shoka. When you know it is unreal, that also becomes a Rasa. Becomes bliss, Ananda. Bliss is not simply pleasure. Swami Vivekananda was writhing with pain. He was just rolling because he heard the plague in Calcutta, so many dying, so much sorrow. He was deeply affected and crying. And one of his disciples asked, Swami, you are a saint and you are having so much pain? He said, you don't understand. There is deep ecstasy in pain. A pain for the other, not for your own selfishness. When you identify with that. So when you have that true knowledge, this is Advaita. Advaita is not philosophy. Advaita is where you don't have gas trouble. Because Kabalita Ghana Vishwarupa. Bhagavan says the entire Vishwa is swallowed, digested and assimilated. Over. Entire universe you are swallowing. Kapalita Jagadandaha Pindamadhye Shayana. Something is there in this Pindamadhya. That self. This is Pinda. In the center of this Pinda there is someone who swallows Jagadanda. This entire globe he swallows and digests it, assimilates it. Kabalita Jagadandaha Pindamadhye Shayana. So then, no, perfect example it is, gas trouble. Thoughts, emotions are all undigested food. Any experience that you don't digest, any experience that you don't completely absorb. And how to absorb? By that oneness. By that oneness. You know that it is me. You know that it is whatever may be. It is a wave, it is a bubble, it's an iceberg, it is all water. That knowledge, no? And you know that. Devaki Amma has come. That yogi's method was that. Any sorrow, any suffering people used to take to Swami. Swami used to say, only one mantra. Sorrow will differ. But the mantra is, my Father alone exists. Nothing else, no one else. He will tell it again and again and again till you understand that sorrow is also Father. Sorrow is also Arunachala. Happiness is also Arunachala. Pleasure is also Arunachala. Pain is also Arunachala. One very powerful question Swami asked Devaki when she had something to tell Swami. Swami said, if you want only God, why do you accept the existence of anything else? What else is Advaita? This is Advaita. When the knowledge becomes perfect, you no more accept the existence of anything else. Bhagavan said in Ramanacharanatirtha, Arunachala, when the house owner is there, he is awake, thieves cannot enter the house. They cannot loot the house. Then why are the thieves coming into this house through all the 5 windows, 5 doors? Aimbula kalvar ahattinir puhumbodu ahattini illayo Arunachala. This, through all the 5 senses, thieves are entering inside. It looks like a sadhaka praying, that thieves are entering. Next song, he comes back and he says, Uruvanamunnai olithu yavar varuvar. Un sude idu Arunachala. He says, Arunachala, you alone exist. Who else can come? This is Shuddha. Shuddha means deception, wrong understanding, indigestion. Eating food that does not suit you, because of which you think wrong knowledge arises, reaction. Ignorance is reaction. This wrong understanding creates this problem. Error in understanding creates this problem. Even siddhis, occult powers. Patanjali says indigestion. If it is digested, it will become samadhi. When it is not digested, it comes like belching. Like belching, it comes out as siddhi. Like belching, it comes out as siddhi. Samadhau upasargaha vyuthane siddhaya. It is an upasarga. Upasarga means obstacle. To what? Samadhi. Absorption in the self. And it appears as siddhi to others, not for you. Others can become fascinated by that. But for you, it is an obstacle to remain collected, remain absorbed. So, anything, this outer display is like that. So, the real thing is this Shanti. That is Shanti is Buddha. Bodha. Buddha's Bodha is Shanti. In Gita, Nirvana is used in that sense. In Shantim, Nirvana Paramam, Mat Samstham Adhigacchati. Says the yogi, by true understanding, Samyak Jnana. Bhagavad Pada also uses the word Samyak Jnana. Through Samyak Jnana, Shantim Nirvana Paramam. Shanti, which is called Nirvana. Shantim Nirvana Paramam Mat Samstham Adhigacchati. Where he is established in me. In the sense, me means in the self, in Atma, Aham Atma Gudakesha. In Atma, and that is Nirvana. And that is Shanti. For that only Buddha struggled till he found it. Because he found that the life is meaningless. He was born as the prince. He had every luxury in front of him. He has enjoyed all those things and saw through them what they contain, where they will lead him. He had that Viveka Shakti enough. That is why he was called as Shakya Simha on one side. On the other side, Sanskrit dictionary, you see the synonyms for Buddha. They will call him Shakya Simha and Bhava Bhiru. He is the lion amongst Shakyas, and his Biru means frightened one. One who is frightened of samsara. Huh? Coward. Coward of what? About samsara. About this dukkha, about this suffering. On one side he saw this, that the suffering is there. Unless you find a solution for that, whether you are a king, whether you are an emperor, whether you are the most rich person in the world, you will suffer. Vidyaranya Swami in somewhere he says, like an experiment he says, if you have moha, delusion about a rich person, go and stay with him for some days. If you have delusion about a famous person, go and stay with him for some days. Then you will find, but with Viveka you stay. Then you will find we are much better. So this is how the Viveka works. You dukkhani alokya jantushu alam udita vivekaha. Jantushu dukkhani alokya, seeing dukkha everywhere in jantu. Jantu means creature, every living creature, every life. Then the true intelligence arises. And intense focus on dukkha is what the ultimate explosion of dukkha is, what we saw in Bhagavan as death experience. That one moment he understood that the body, the mind, the ego, nothing exists. Everyone has this is the beginning. Yogi's life, that small bird, it died in his hand, and that dukkha was the cause. In that small, and the bird's death, he saw the pain of entire existence. Where it can lead you, what you can get. So you see the sorrow, you see the dukkha. But people will think by seeing dukkha, the person will become a dukkhi. No. He will become blissful. He will become blissful. Actually, many would have felt it like that. For me, for my childhood, on one side that was there. It's all dukkha, meaningless sorrow. But there was bliss behind it. You feel so free. You feel so free. You don't want to enter into this Komali Valkai, as Arunagirinathar says. This life of a buffoon. You are not here to fight. You are not here to compete. The same thing again, going to school, writing exam, getting what mark you got. Not only that, they will not stop there. How much mark Suresh got? How much mark Ramesh got? All these things they will ask. Oh, rubbish. From there, Vairagya has to come. No? From there, Vairagya has to come. Once, this convent school was horrible. Because we used to be jealous about seeing the children going to government school. Every alternate days there will be strike and no school. They will come back. And we have to go to school and study, and the most terrible thing is wear the shoes. In this hot climate, wear the shoe and a tie and all those things. We used to become envious of these cows and dogs. They need not go to school. One boy was telling when we were going in the school bus, looking at the dog, Parichaya, pass arda, homework, unnum kediyadu, saukyama irukku. He's very happy. So, one day, we went to school without shoes and socks. And they said, don't enter the class and we were made to stand under a mango tree. 2-3 mango trees are there, we were playing there. That day we came and told all other children, we were very happy playing. Next day the whole class arrived without shoes and socks. Just nothing connected to spirituality. But this is all, as Nagarjuna says, dukkham, 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 shunya, shunya. Everywhere. Oh, so many things we do in life which will not take us to that. Everything looks purposeless. And that vairagya is death experience. That vairagya. Vairagyam is not unhappiness. Vairagyanna param sukasya janakam pashyami vashyatmana. Tachet shuddhataratma bodha sahitaha swarajya samrajya tuk. As Shankaracharya says, nothing gives you so much happiness like vairagya. And if it is associated with Atmajnana, you sit in the throne of, you become the sovereign ruler. Swarajya Samrajya. Nobody can take away your Samrajya from you. You become absolutely free. Along with Vairagyam and Jnanam, both. And Vairagya and Viveka are like two wings to the bird, says Shankaracharya. Vairagya bodhau purushasya pakshivat pakshau vijanihi vichakshanastum. Vichakshana tum vijanihi. Pakshau vijanihi. Vairagya and Viveka. These two are needed. Along with that, the person should have the upasana, karma vishuddhi, all round development. In Buddhist tradition, they have this vinaya. Every step you can take guidance from the vinaya. If it is not told in vinaya, especially in Theravada Buddhism, they depend completely on vinaya. We do not have that much of laid out rule. Especially when they become sannyasi, all rules are removed. Nistraigunye pathi vicharataha ko vidhihi ko nishedhaha. That is the thing. No? But before that, you are completely tied down by the scriptures, by the Vedas. Why he is left out? Because they are sure no more mistake will happen from him. In that jnana sthiti only, he is left out without any bondage. He is left free. Because now they are sure, he will not make any mistake. That is like that because there is only Vidvat Sannyasa, no Vividisha Sannyasa. Vividisha Sannyasa is those who take Sannyasa for attainment, not after attainment. If the person is taking sannyasa after attainment, he needs no rule. Not only that, the Shruti says, Vedas themselves bow down to him and says, walk. We will not come in between. Yatra Vedaha Avedaha Bhavanti. Even Vedas becomes Aveda for him. They also says, we will not obstruct. We are not here to order him. And we will take his words. Brahmavadino vadanti. Veda says, the Brahmavadis are saying this. They are our pramana. So they are sitting in the Shruti Mastaka. This sannyasa ashrama is called Shruti Mastaka ashrama. It is sitting on the head of Vedas. Shruti. Shruti Mastaka ashrama. Moksha, Muktashrama. It is the Muktashrama. So when it is the Vidvat Sannyasa, Paramahamsa Sannyasa, there is no Viti Nisheda. But in the Vividisha Sannyasa, you need all these rules. There, whatever Buddha has said in Vinaya, most of them is very great guidance to any sadhaka. Because they have done so much research. So much through years also some traditions they find. This will work, this will not work. Sometimes people will misinterpret, find loopholes. So when you have a tradition, you learn through experience. Certain things should not be told, certain things can be told. When Bhagavan said, a jnani is absolutely free, he is not bound by anything, he spoke from that state. He told T.K. Sundareshwar Iyer, you need not do all these Vedic rites. You are free of it. This, if somebody reads, Bhagavan said, you need not do. Another person left all his rituals and his wife came to Bhagavan and told Bhagavan, see, he has left everything. Bhagavan called him. And why you left? He said, because you told T.K. Sundareshwar Iyer to leave, renounce. Sundaram ellathayum vittirukkan, nee enatha vitta? He said, Sundaram has renounced everything. What have you left? Avanukku sonne, unakku sonnena. See, this is the problem with writing. When you keep it in writing, some problem comes like that. There was one Subramanya Shastrigal in ashram. He said he wanted to remove the tuft. Small things, remove the tuft. But his father, before death, he said, you should not do anything without Bhagavan's permission. So he stood, ashramallam varuvar parayanathukku ipo poittaru. So he stood in front of Goshala while Bhagavan was coming down from Goshala and said, Bhagavan, there is lot of some party here. Some riot is happening. So shall I remove this tuft, shika? Bhagavan looked at him like this. Buddhi laukikama pordo. He asked, your buddhi goes laukikam. Worldly thinking. He said, left it on there. So that much careful Bhagavan was everywhere. Bhagavan, after the greatest, one of the greatest disciples of Bhagavan, Shiva Prakasham Pillai, he writes in Ramanacharanatirtha in poetic form. In that poetry he says, he went to Bhagavan without bhasma dharana, without bhasma. Bhagavan gave him a bhasma bag and said, whenever you come here, wear bhasma and come. With shika you come. And you should stick to all these traditional practices because they are all good for sense control, mind control and for humility. You should stick to them. So these things you will not get. You read only one book. That is why unless you have come in tradition, you have that tradition, till that you have to wait. You should not sit upon judgment. You have to absorb the knowledge through the right way and digest it. Otherwise, what will happen? Gas trouble. Yes, gas trouble will come. Gas trouble will come in the form of problems in life. Gas trouble will come in the form of many spiritual problems. So, that is very important. So, we had a very wonderful session. Bhikshu Amarasiri has given us a vision of Buddha. His bhakti to Buddha and the tradition to which he has come, and also to the Vaidika Sampradaya in which he was born. And he knows the greatness, the glory of this Advaita Sampradaya. He carries it in his heart. Tiruvannamalai is not new to him. from his very young age, used to come here. So, that is why it was very easy to have that connection, that link. And this is, I feel that all of you have enjoyed it. The fragrance of that sainthood, vairagya, austerity, guru bhakti, it all were there in those stories and the teaching. So now in this Arunachala Kshetra, in this Jnana Kshetram, where so many Mahatmas have come, so many yogis have come, so many illumined souls, enlightened beings have walked this Arunachala Kshetra. Right from Parameshwara, from Ambal, she herself came here, took initiation from Gautama and merged with Arunachala. So many sages have come in this tradition. We can say this is Arunachala Sampradaya itself is there here. No? Arunachala Sampradaya. So this Arunachala Jnana Sampradaya. Shiva himself initiates. He himself initiated Bhagavan. So that Advaita Jnana Sampradaya, it is Advaita Jnana Sampradaya. Shankaracharya also has come here to Tiruvannamalai. And all great acharyas in that sampradaya, they have come to Arunachala. In this Divya Kshetra, we had this satsanga on Buddha also. We have brought Buddha also to Arunachala in this way. So, we cannot express the gratitude that devotees are feeling in their heart. All of you have to express that. So, we offer this satsanga to Bhagavan, and Bhante will come again. Till then, we will have that our usual Arunachala Satsanga, recollecting all these stories, everyday Satsanga. Now, from 8th onwards, we have our Tamil Satsangam in Yogi Ashram. Bhagavan Yogi Ram Surat Kumar's that Aradhana day is coming on Shivaratri. So till then we have 2 days left, 3 days left in between. So 3 days, it will be in Tamil, not in English. So that's it will be in Tamil. 3 days gap. 3 days I will not be available here. So after 3 days in Yogi Ashram, this Tamil Satsangam will be happening. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva Arunachala. Guhayam nihitosya jantoh tamakratum vashyati vitashoko dhatu prasadam mahimanamisham prabhavanti tasmat saptachishas samidas sapta jihva sapta ime lokayeshu chalanti prana guhashayan nihitas sapta sapta atas samudra girayascha sarve smat sindhante sindhavas sarvarupah atasya vishva oshadayo rasa ashrayenaisha bhutastishtatyantaratma brahma devanam padavi kavinam rishirvipranam sheno gridhrana gaswati dirvanana gasona pavitra Ajamekam lohita shukla krishnam bahvim prajam janayanti kumsarupam ajohyeko jushamano nushete jaha atyenam bhukta bhogamajo onya agum satshujishadvasurantarikshadhodha vedishadati tirdurona sat nrishadvara sadrita sadvyo masadabja gojarataja adrijaritam brihat Ghritam mimikshire ghritamsya yonirghite shrito ghritamupasya dhama anushvathamabahamadaya swaswaha ghritam vrishabhavakshi havyam samudra durmir madhumakum udaradupakum shunasamavritatvamanite ghritasya nama guhyam yatasti vihva devanam amritasya navihi vayannama prabhramama ghritena yajne dharayama namobhihi Upabrahma shrinavatshasya manam chatushrungavamit gaura etat Chatvari shringa trayo asya pada dve shirshe saptahastaso asya Trita baddho vrishabho raviti mahadevo martyagam avivesha Sritha hitam panibhir guhyamanam gavidevaso ghritamandva bindan Indrayekagam surya ekam jajana venadekaggaswadaya nishtatakshuhu Yo devanam prathamam purastad Vishwadhiyo rudro maharshihi Hiranyagarbham Kayamanagam sano deva shubhaya smritya sanyunattu Yasmat paramna paramasti kinchid yasman naniyo najjayo osti kaschid Vrikshaiva stabdho divitishtatte kaste nedam purnam purushena sarvam nagarmana na prajaya dhanena tyagena amritatvamānashuh parena nagam nihitam guhayam vibhrajate tadyatayo vishanti Vedanta vijnana sunishchitārthā sannyasa yogadyataya shuddha sattva Te brahmaloke tu parāntakāle parāmritāt parimucchanti sarve dahram vipāpam parameshva bhūtam yat pundarīkam burabadhyasaggastam tatrāpi dahram gaganam vishokastasmin yadantastadupāsidavyam yo vedādau svaraprokto vedante ca pratishtitah tasya prakritilīnasya yah parassa maheshwarah Stabhih parjanyo varshati parjanyena ushati vanaspatayah prajayanta annam bhavatyannena prana pranirbalam balena tapastapasa shraddha shraddhaya medha medhaya manisha manishaya mano shanti shantya chittam chittena smritigga smritya smaragga smarena vijnanam atmanam vedayati tasmad annam dadan sarvānyetāni dadātyanna prāṇā bhavanti bhūtānām prāṇairmano manasasya vijñānam ānando brahma yonisya एष पुरुषः पञ्चता पञ्चात्मा येन
सर्वमिदं प्रोतं पृथिवी चान्तरिक्षं च द्यौश्च दिशश्चावान्तरदिशाश्च वै सर्वमिदं जगत्स भूतकं स भव्यं
जिज्ञासकृत्तरतचारयिष्टा श्रद्धा सत्यो महस्वान्
तपसोरिष्ठा ज्ञात्वादमेवं मनसा हृदा च
भूयो न मृत्युमुपयाहि विद्वान्
तस्मान्न्यासमेषां
तपसामतिरिक्तमाहुर्वसुरण्यो विभूरसि प्राणे
त्वमसि सङ्घाता
ब्रह्मन् त्वमसि
प्रथृत्तेजोदास्त्वमस्यग्निरसि वर्चोदास्त्वमसि सूर्यस्य द्युम्नोदास्त्वमसि चन्द्रमस उपयाम गृहीतोऽसि ब्रह्मणे
महस ओमित्यात्मानयुञ्जीतैतद्वै महोपनिषदं देवानां गुह्यं य एवं वेद ब्रह्मणो महिमानमाप्नोति तस्मात् ब्रह्मणो महिमानमित्युपनिषत्
तस्यैवं विदुषो यज्ञस्यात्मा यजमानः श्रद्धापत्नी शरीरमिद्ममुरो वेदिर्लोमानि वैर्वेदशिखा यूपः काम आज्यम् मन्युः पशुस्तपोऽग्निर्दमश्रमयिता दक्षिणा वाग्घोता प्राण उद्गाता चक्षुरध्वर्युर्मनो ब्रह्मा श्रोत्रमग्नीद्यावद्रियते सा दीक्षा यदश्नादि तद्हविः तद्हविर्यत्पिबति तदस्य सोमपानै यद्रमते तदुपसदो यच्छञ्चरत्युपविशत्युत्तिष्ठते च सप्रवर्ग्यो यन्मुखैस्तदाहवनीयो या व्याहृतिराहुतिर्यदस्य विज्ञानं तज्जुहोति यत्सायं प्रातरत्ति तत्समिधं यत्प्रातर्मध्यन्दिनगुं सायं च तानि सवनानि ये अहोरात्रे ते दर्शपूर्णमासौ ये एर्धमासाश्च मासाश्च ते चातुर्मास्यानि यर्तवस्ते पशुबन्धा ये संवत्सराश्च परिवत्सराश्च ते हृर्गणाः सर्ववेदसं वा एतत्सत्रय्यं मरणं तदबभृथ एतद्वै जरामर्यमग्निहोत्रगुं सत्रय्य एवं विद्वानुदगयने प्रमीयते देवानामेव महिमानं गत्वादित्यस्य सायुज्यं गच्छत्यथयो दक्षिणे प्रमीयते पितॄणामेव महिमानं गत्वा चन्द्रमसः सायुज्यगुं स लोकतामाप्नोत्येतौ वै सूर्या चन्द्रमसोर्महिमानौ ब्राह्मणो विद्वानभिजयति तस्मात् ब्रह्मणो महिमानमाप्नोति तस्मात् ब्रह्मणो महिमानम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः अन्नपूर्णे सदा पूर्णे शङ्कर प्राणवल्लभे ज्ञानवैराग्यसिद्ध्यर्थं भिक्षां देहि च पार्वती माता च पार्वती देवी पिता देवो महेश्वरः बान्धवा शिवभक्ताश्च स्वदेशो भुवनत्रयम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः दीक्षामृतसेवां समर्पयामः।
So usually it's traditional in all our monasteries, whenever bhiksha is offered like this, dana is offered like this, we offer a chant to express our delight in your generosity as well as to express our gratitude. So I'll just offer what is called our anumodana. So please think of all goodness, think of generosity, think of the people you love and you hold dear to your hearts, and think of wellness for the entire universe. Yatha varivaha pura paripurenti sagarang evameva ito dinang Petanang upakapati ichitang patitang tumhang kipameva samijjatu sabbe purentu sankappa Chando panaraso yatha manijotiraso yatha sabbhityo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava abhivadana silisa nityang buddhapachayino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayudo bhalado dhiro vannado patibhanado sukhassa dhatha medhavi sukhang so adigacchati ayum dattva balang vannang sukhang cha patibhanado dighayu yasava hoti attayathu papajyatiti adasi me akasi me jnati mitta sakha cha me petanam dakinam dajja pubbe katang anusarang nahi runnang vasoko vayavanya paridevana natang pethanam athaya evam tittam tinyatayo ayanchako dakina dinna sangam hi supatittita digharatang hitayasa thanaso upakapati so jnati dhammo chayam nidasito petana puja chakata ullara balancha bhikkhunang anupadinnang tumhe hi punyang pasutang anapakamti kale dadanti sapanyavadanyu vitamachara kalena dinnang ariyesu jubhutesu tadisu vipassana manatasa vipulahumti dakkhina ye tatha anumodamti viyyavachang karonti va na tena dakhina unna tepi punyassa bhagino tasamadade appativana chitto yata dinnang mahapalang punyani paralokasmin patitta honti paninamti bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhamtu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhamtu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhamtu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te.